People always say Scandinavia has some of the toughest winter conditions, and honestly, I didn't expect that much until I came to Norway. With the sun setting earlier and earlier, I'm finally understanding what they mean. So today, I'm going to be talking about why my first Norwegian winter actually scares me. Alright guys, so the first thing that's really throwing me off is the disappearing daylights. Now I'm starting to notice this more and more. As I get closer to winter, I can definitely tell that the sun is rising later and setting earlier, which is a big change for me because back in California, the sunset would maybe be at around 6:15 maximum. You know, it wouldn't get lower than that. And the sunrise would be maybe 7:25, 7:30 a.m. maximum, right? But here in Norway, it is already starting to change and it just keeps getting less and less, which does scare me because I do love being in the sun and being in the light, and I've never really experienced a true dark winter. I've never really experienced even winter, to be honest. So already here in Norway, it's starting to rise at 8:30 a.m. and set at 5:40, 5:45, but that number keeps dropping, right? The sunrise gets later and the sunset gets earlier. So I definitely am noticing these things. It's making me, one, a lot more tired. You know, I'm wanting to sleep more, and it makes me want to start my day later than usual, which does also throw me off a lot and makes me want to go and do all my errands as fast as I can so then I don't have to be out in the dark. So I think this is going to be a big change for me, especially as we get closer to winter, where I've heard that the sun rises at 10 a.m. and sets at 3 p.m., which I don't know if I can still process that. I don't know if I'm even processing that correctly. I think I'll just have to see it for myself because that sounds very scary. I'm honestly scared about that. I don't know how I'm going to feel about how it's going to be to experience that. I mean, yes, I'm excited because I've never seen these things, and to be able to witness this is beautiful. All right, guys, so the next thing that is really throwing me off is the temperature change. Now, this one is just starting, but oh my God, it's already crazy to me because in California, it pretty much stays around 65, 70 all year, basically. It obviously gets hotter in the summer, but in the winter, it basically stays very warm, especially during the day. But here in Norway, already I'm experiencing such a temperature change. It is now so cold for me, at least, walking outside. And I remember a few days ago, I was going outside to go on a walk, and I just wore not really that much of a winter coat, maybe just a sweater, because I thought, oh, it's probably gonna get hotter as the sun rises. You know, nope. It was extremely cold the whole day, and that's when I learned, okay, it's time to wear some proper clothing, because it's not like in California where it's going to be cold in the morning, but then as the day gets later and later, it gets warmer. But no, here it's already dropping so cold, and I heard that as it gets real winter, it gets freezing. You basically cannot go outside. You got to be really warm. So that is a big change for me and kind of scares me because I'm not used to such cold weather. Already I'm shivering sometimes because of how cold I am. I'm literally, my teeth are chattering. So yeah, I can't wait for the real winter because that's going to be a real test of how well I can deal with this Norwegian winter. All right, so the next thing that's really throwing me off is how much I'm having to layer and put on clothes, because in California, I pretty much never had to wear that many layers, right? In the morning, maybe when it's like 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., it was kind of cold, so I would wear maybe a jacket or a sweater. But here in Norway, now I'm basically wearing so many layers the whole day I go out, which is definitely a big change because I was never used to wearing so many layers. Usually I'd wear a couple layers and then take them off as it gets hotter throughout the day. But no, in Norway, it basically stays very cold the entire day. So I'm seeing a change in my clothes. I'm having to buy winter clothes, which I've never really had to do, to be honest. So that's pretty cool and interesting. And then I'm also seeing a lot of people changing their outfits. A lot more people are wearing winter clothes. They're layering up. They're getting ready, which scares me a little bit for the winter because when it's truly winter, I wonder how many clothes I'm going to have to be wearing, especially since it's going to be freezing, way colder than anything I've ever been used to or probably experienced, to be honest. So I think this is a big change for me, is layering a lot more clothes on. All right, so this brings me to my next point, and this one probably makes me the most anxious, and it's the introduction of vitamin D supplements and the special lamp that Norwegians use in the winter. So I'm going to start with the lamp, and what I've heard is that you're supposed to use this in the winter as a form of sun exposure because you don't get a lot of sun during the winter. So it kind of acts as the sun and mimics it and gives you some UV exposure, I guess. So you're supposed to use it for maybe 15 minutes per day, and I'm definitely anxious about this because I have been used to sun my entire life, and going from sun every day to no sun for a couple months definitely freaks me out because I do love the sun and I'm afraid I'm not going to get enough of it. So I'm definitely going to have to use this lamp every single day. And then the vitamin D supplements, obviously in California, I don't take these because you're tan all year round. You get so much sun that it's sometimes too much. So taking vitamin D supplements is definitely a new thing for me. And I'm afraid that maybe I'll forget some days or I won't want to. But yeah, these two things definitely are very, very new to me. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about, something that is not really scaring me, but I'm looking forward to, is how the overall vibe of the city is changing. So when I first came here in the summer, you know, people were out, they were wearing different clothing, the weather was nice. But now going into winter, I can tell that the city's just changing. People are wearing bigger coats now, different clothing, they're not out as much. The leaves are falling all on the ground, which I've never seen so many leaves on the ground before. It's honestly amazing to see and very eye-opening for the first time. But as I walk at night now, you see candles in people's windows. There's all these cool lights. It's just becoming a very cozy environment, which a lot of Norwegians like to do during the winter. They like to be cozy, you know, they like to be inside with their candles lit, their nice lights. They like to make meals home cooked. And another thing I noticed is people are walking slower. They're not spending as much time outdoors. They're really moving inside. You know, cafes are becoming more cozy and it's becoming a really nice environment. All right, so the last thing that's really throwing me off is how much I'm having to check the weather app. Now, back in California, I basically never checked the weather app because I knew it was going to be sunny all day long every day, so I didn't really worry. But now in Norway, since one, there's not a lot of sun anymore, and two, it rains a lot, I'm constantly finding myself checking the weather app every single day, literally, and I'll plan specifically my days just around the weather, right? Like if it's dark earlier, I'll go out a little earlier to make sure I get all my things done, or if I want to go get some sunlight, I'll go out immediately when there's sunlight because I don't know when I'll see the sun next. And I think that's common in Norway. You know, when it's sunny, you'll see everyone outside at the cafes, walking around, relaxing because there's not that much sun. So when there is, they really appreciate that and they want to go out as much as they can, which I really started doing a lot now, and I know why they do it now. I understand. At first I was like, oh, you know, there'll probably be a lot of sun and I won't have to do that. But now I'm like, sun, run out, go outside. So I think that's something that I'm definitely gonna have to adapt to, is checking the weather app and planning my days around the weather, which I've never had to do that. So that's gonna be very interesting, and especially when it gets closer to the actual winter, I'm really gonna have to plan my days around the weather. Like I'm gonna have to go out as soon as I wake up, and then I'll have to go inside earlier and not have to be out as much. It's definitely going to be interesting. Alright guys, so those are some of the things that are scaring me about the upcoming Norwegian winter and things that I'm going to have trouble adapting to. But I'm definitely interested to see how it goes, and I'm excited to see the beautiful part of it. Alright guys, and what's the number one tip you'd give someone about to experience their first Norwegian winter? Let me know down below in the comments because I'm very open to hearing anything you guys have to say. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you go down there and subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think about the Norwegian weather. If you've experienced it, let me know how it's been, what your thoughts about it are, and if you're looking forward to it, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. The support has been amazing. I love each and every one of you guys. Hope you have the best weekend ever, the best day ever. I will see you guys in the next one. And I'll definitely be making a video about winter when it actually snows and when it actually hits, how that's going to be. So make sure you subscribe to see that. Peace. Hada.